see if we can go live on Facebook. Looks like we're up on Facebook. There you go. Glad it worked. And I'm going to click broadcast now, and that'll bring the folks in just a moment. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on our rescheduled chamber chat here on Thursday, June 4th. Thank you for taking time out of your busy days. My name is PJ Prunty. I'm the president and CEO of the Greater Danbury Chamber of Commerce, and I am excited to be hosting the president and CEO of Ability Beyond, Jane Davis. Jane, thank you so much for taking time out of your day today to speak with us. First thing off, I know we chatted a little bit before we started, but how are you and your family doing?
Everybody's great. Thanks for asking.
Excellent.
Everybody's great.
Glad to hear that. So let's jump right into it. Can you tell us a little bit about who Ability Beyond serves and the programs and services that you provide?
Sure. So we're based out of Bethel. We grew up in the Danbury area. We're a 65+ year organization, nonprofit. And we serve about 3,000 people a year across all of our service lines. Folks with developmental disabilities, people on the autism spectrum, folks with acquired brain injuries, and mental health challenges. So we have 24-hour really intense group home care, residential care in Connecticut and New York. We have day programs, transition programs. We help young adults transition from school to work. To adult life. We have an outpatient clinic. We have a Special Olympics program, transportation. We've got a bocce ball team. We've got a lot, but mostly we just provide people with disabilities in Connecticut and New York for whatever they need to be independent and thrive in their communities. And then on top of that, we have a consulting service through our consulting arm, Disability Solutions. And that's a national program where we have team members in Indiana and all over the country. They work with corporate partners who are clients like American Express and Synchrony Financial and Pepsi, and we help them meet job gap needs and make disability part of their diversity platform, and offer things like in-person consulting and soft skills training and hiring practices, all the way to job boards specific to people with disabilities. And that work is all over the country, and we've helped thousands of people find employment of all kinds of disabilities. And in that work, we're using the federal definition. So almost anything counts.
Sure. I was not aware about the consulting services that you guys provide. It's incredible, the reach they have. So let's talk a little bit about COVID-19 and the impact that it has had on Ability Beyond and the people you serve and the programming as a whole.
Sure. We have definitely been impacted by COVID. I'm standing here, and I'll do this for just a second so you can kind of see. We turned our office here at Lear in Bethel into a COVID isolation unit. We serve lots of people in different ways, as I said, and many of our programs we closed in mid-March, actually before any state mandate to do so. If you walk into one of our day programs in the morning, you'll see hundreds of people. It's Grand Central Station at any of our locations in Chappaqua, in Danbury, in Bethel, in Norwalk, and Plainville. It's really, really busy with a lot of people. And people are going to work, they're going to volunteer, they're going to take a class, but we're usually the hub. And so we suspended all of that programming in March and closed our outpatient clinic in New York. And we serve about 550 people residentially. So people in 24-hour licensed group homes, some are federally certified, some are apartment programs where we're going in and out, but we're essentially responsible for people in their homes or in our homes, hundreds and hundreds of people in about 120 locations. So the first thing we also did in March was to get as many people home with their families just to reduce our census numbers.
Right.
So about 60 of our families were wonderful at the time. We thought it was going to be 2 weeks, and they're still not back. So they've been really patient with us and really wonderful, but it's really helped just bring the numbers of people living together down. And we saw our first case right after St. Patrick's Day in Westchester. And as you know, I'm sure Westchester has been a hot spot.
Right.
Our second grouping was in the Bristol area, Plainville. And, we serve a really, really vulnerable population. Many of the people we serve are older, on top of some of their developmental disabilities or acquired brain injuries. They have a lot of comorbidities and medical issues. So really, we think the most vulnerable people in the state. And so it was an unnerving time, and we just stopped all visitors. It was our team only going in and out. And it was the scramble for PPE that most nonprofits like ours talk about.
Right.
But we also knew really quickly that watching it spread across a group home to not just the people we serve, but the team members only, is a really scary thing. And if we wanted to stop it, we needed an isolation unit. So to my knowledge, in our catchment areas, we're the only COVID possible and COVID positive isolation unit available. And we served people across all of our programs in both states here in Bethel. And it really helped. I've got some great charts I should have sent you that show the difference in trying to isolate someone in a bedroom in a house with 6 people to here where all of our team is just has enhanced training. We've got their PPE use is perfect. And it also gives the people here that were recovering freedom. They weren't stuck in their rooms. They could move around. They could watch TV. They could go someplace else to eat. They could talk to each other a little bit. So it was really helpful. It really slowed our spread and kept our numbers down below 4% for the people we serve and for our staff, which was really, really good.
You talk about the team at Ability. How has been their morale? I'm sure that there's been some challenges. They've obviously very dedicated to the people that you serve. What has that been like for them to sort of have to adjust to this distance component?
You have no idea what to expect. Our team is trained for this. We implement isolation protocols every flu season. We have at least a few group homes and the people we serve, again, are so vulnerable that we have isolation protocols, and everyone knows what our plan is when there's a flu epidemic. And we used all those same strategies, so they were prepared. You don't know what to expect, and initially it's scary. You're watching the news, you're seeing young people, be so impacted. It was scary, and I wasn't sure what to expect, but our team was absolutely phenomenal. They were nimble and flexible and committed and did the right thing and followed all the protocols, and we're totally in it together. And we do these team calls every week, and family calls and leadership calls. We have a live event, 3 of them every week since this started. And I always get emotional because I'm so touched and so proud of how our team reacted. And then we're opening a COVID only unit where we're serving a lot of people that are all known to be tested COVID positive, that are coughing, that are sneezing, and that need total care. And we're thinking, okay, well, what will this look like? How will we get team members to get here? And we did, and they did. We had more than we needed. It's empty right now. And we just did a survey of the team that worked here. And these were the results. 100% felt like they had enough PPE, they were protected. 100% felt supported in the role. 100% gave it a 10 out of 10 for being a great experience for them.
Well, I tip of the hat to you and the entire leadership team. So
listen, we had a really great team. Your listeners won't know who they are, but Carrie O'Connell, Amy Desmaris, we had a great, unbelievable team. Eric, Danielle, whole team of 20 or 30 people pulled this together. And we also had a group called It Takes a Village that was doing whatever we needed. We had people in the greater Danbury area, Worcester Hollow Cafe bringing food, Bodekian Research making sanitizer, Maplewood delivering masks. The whole community really stepped up and supported us and made it happen. And it was, I get why it was 10 out of 10 for them.
Those are all chamber members, by the way, to rattle off.
I'm name dropping your members. And And our It Takes a Village team in the meantime was supporting our residential programs and our apartment programs in both states. And our directors there did an amazing job, and our leadership team was fantastic. And if someone in Bristol needed toilet paper, our It Takes a Village team was bringing it to them. If someone in, Westchester needed chicken, they brought it. Puzzles, you got it. So it was that kind of team effort, and I'm glad it's feeling like we're on the other side of it.
Yeah, well, that's incredible. Actually, one of the questions that we posed to the governor back when we had him, it's like a blur. I think it was at the end of March, maybe, or April. I think it was mid-April. I can't remember, honestly. It was about the employees at places like Ability Beyond, and I'm sorry if I'm paraphrasing, and I know you know this question better, but was it categorizing them as essential workers? Was that the question that we posed to them?
Well, we're essential workers in Connecticut. In New York, we had the distinction. Cuomo made our team essential healthcare workers, which gave them a different prioritization for PPE, for childcare support, and things like that. And that's what we would really like to have happen here in Connecticut. Many of our programs are, they're federally certified. We've got DPH involvement. And for our team, being an essential worker was good. That meant that you're excluded from restrictions, and you're still going to and from work and all of that. But that's what I think would be helpful going forward.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Appreciate it. So for those that are attending us, feel free to use the chat feature there down at the bottom if you'd like to submit Jane a really tough and challenging question. So we encourage you to send that through there if you would like. You talked about being prepared and some of the protocols that are in place, like the flu, responding to that virus. How has Ability Beyond responded to these impacts? What has been some lessons learned or insights gained through this experience?
I'm sorry for everyone that we have that was sick, and we had people hospitalized, and it was uncomfortable for so many people. And our communities for people with disabilities lost a lot of people, a disproportionate amount of people. So this was a tragic event, obviously, for the country, for the people we serve, for the elderly, for so many people. That aside, we learned so much that in many ways, I'm really thankful for the experience. I'm sorry it happened, but as long as it did,
sure.
I'm thankful to have the experience that we had with our team. I think we learned as a team to be more nimble, to act more swiftly. We are really passionate about technology here, and we had already deployed a ton of technology to help decrease the amount of in-person supports needed for people with disabilities and to give them a greater sense of autonomy and more independence. It's something we do all the time, and we have a great passion for it. You can see more about it on our website, abilitybeyond.org. And we found it was so helpful in this case. I was so glad that we had the infrastructure to not miss a beat for meetings, for live events, for whatever we needed, but also to provide services virtually to the people we serve. So our day program started up relatively quickly, doing live broadcast of nature and exercise groups. We had legislators participate in some of our programs. So that was a great thing. And I think that we'll be using that a lot more going forward. And we want to be offering it to other organizations like ours. So we have so many lessons learned, and we're constantly debriefing now. We've got 14 project groups going to take either what we learned or what we need to do better next time, and working on how to leverage it.
That's great. One of the terms that just everywhere is new normal, right? How do you see new?
I didn't hear
normal?
you, Pete, answer what?
New normal. I'm saying that we've heard
the
that.
new normal. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Right. Okay.
One of those terms that we see sort of popping up, and it seems like all types of conversations and articles. So speaking to that, how do you see Ability Beyond moving forward, both in the short term and in the long term?
In the short term, we are, like I said, we've got those 14 project groups preparing for what's next. We are, we're having to look at a financial recovery plan. This was an expensive event for everyone in our industry. We spent about $250,000 on PPE. And we had to deploy hundreds of isolation kits. We had to, and we're now deploying our second round of 450 isolation kits this week and next week to make sure we're prepared for the next round. We've had antimicrobial treatments everywhere. We had to especially outfit vans to get people tested. So we have a lot of work to do to say, okay, how are we going to pay for that going forward, make up for that? I know that technology is going to be a huge part of how we operate going forward. So all of our services will look completely different. And we're just trying to wrap our heads around that and communicate with our families and the people we serve in our team about what are the best strategies for keeping people safe, but engaged and thriving going forward. And those are really our two focus areas right now.
Thanks, I appreciate that. All right, we just received a question here through the chat box. Before and after the pandemic began, legislators on both sides of the aisle have been very supportive when ability needs them. If they're listening, what could they do to be helpful moving forward? And we'll be sure that this is disseminated out through not just our social media platforms, but Constant Contact. So I imagine that many of the legislators will be hearing this conversation.
Yeah, I think that the things that we are looking for, I touched on a little bit. I think the essential healthcare worker status and the prioritization for childcare, for PPE is critical. Our team is nationally and locally a hidden frontline hero. We've got our signs out here that say, heroes work here with our Ability Beyond logo, but it's not the same experience as a nurse or a doctor, and they're doing the same thing. They're putting their lives on the line. So is our team. So it's hard for them. No, not many people know what a direct support team member for people with disabilities is or what they do every day. So I think the more we can do to make sure that our group, our team, is included in all of those efforts, the better. We were really thankful. So many of our funders stepped up to make sure we were adequately funded. And it was a relief. We'll have to see what happens in the fall if this happens again, or in January. And we're pretty sure that it will. So what will funding look like? PPE is really, really important. And I'm thankful that we're getting it now through state contacts, but initially in March, we were sourcing it and buying it ourselves. And so was every other organization like ours, and others as well, other types of industries too. It was a scramble for the country, but for us too. So I think we need a better distribution plan going forward. It seems much smoother now. March was hard. All right,
just received another. Go ahead. Sorry.
One more on my wish list of things for Ability Beyond too. Nursing homes, some environments received enhanced funding for COVID positive units, and we didn't. And we had to do it from a safety perspective. We couldn't wait. But if we have to continue doing it, I think that's an important thing for our industry as well. If you're going to be creating that environment and having your teams risk their lives and have to go through all that, we really need enhanced funding for that.
So that's a segue into one of the questions we just received through the chat box. What are the most critical financial challenges you face over the next 90 days? And you may have mentioned some of these in your comments prior, but.
Well, look, it's not as bad as we thought. It's still bad, and it's still costly. It's probably a $750,000 event for us right now. At this 2.5 month event, we thought it would be worse in that when you close your day program and you serve hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and it's a huge part of your operating budget, and you're not billing for it, that's scary. And our funders, Department of Developmental Services stepped up. Department of Social Services is helping with our intermediate care facility. So we've been getting support, but it's not 100% across all of our services that we've had to shut down. So that, just figuring out how moving forward is going to be really, really important for us. And how do we trim our sails as much as we can to focus our energy on in the short term on this.
Sure. Well, let's talk about some of the ways that you have been dealing with the inevitable stress, right, that you experience in your role, not just over the past 2.5 months, but for in general, really. What are some of outlets that you find to help alleviate stress and work-life balance and whatnot?
Well, look, first I have to say it was a scary first couple of weeks, but our team is so amazing that you're concerned for the team. You don't want people to get sick. You're concerned for the people that you serve. We worry about our families that are having to care for people weeks beyond what we thought they would be doing. But I knew pretty quickly the way our team responded that we were going to be okay. We were going to get through this, no question. So to be honest, it wasn't too bad of a stress level for me, just because of how great our team is. Throw on that a little meditation, a little yoga, a little running, a little wine.
There you go.
It's okay.
That always helps. So let's talk about advice that you have either received throughout your career, or have come to recognize through trial and error over your career. What type of advice would you give out to those in the nonprofit world who might be struggling to navigate the pandemic 2 months ago, as well as what lies in the future?
The advice I give a lot that someone gave to me, and it's a quote, and I can't remember who said it, but I'll say it. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. And I think about that almost daily, that you can have all the strategy you want, but culture eats strategy for breakfast. If you don't have the right culture and the right commitment and the right team that feels the same way that you do and has shared passion and unity, your strategies are going nowhere. So we try and remember that here a lot, and I use that quote a lot, and that was really great advice that I got at some point. And I probably share that internally maybe once a week. I don't know. I think I say that a lot. I'll have to find out who to credit that quote to.
Yeah, I'm surprised that no one from the chat box has already Googled it and said, "Oh, it's Warren Buffett or something."
Yeah, can somebody Google that and tell me who said that?
Come on, Doug. You're usually Doug on the spot there with that. So I've asked this to a couple other individuals that I've had on Chamber Chat here. What are some of the things, or one thing that you've been missing? That you always had pre-COVID. Someone mentioned going to get cocktails with their staff after work. Someone mentioned just embracing their children, hugging their grown adults, and someone said going to Yankee games. What comes to mind that you think, oh man, I really miss doing X?
Look, I don't know if I have anything. I think I'll turn it positive and say I don't miss wearing high heels all the time. I got sneakers on. You can't see them. I'm wearing sneakers right now. I'm in my ability to be on swag. I have been every day since this started. I put a blazer on for this. I don't miss wearing high heels. I don't miss a lot of the running around. To me, I found we've been really efficient, and we've been trying to make it up with having virtual happy hours and keeping our team connected. We still get to, we're essential workers. We still get to go to work and see people. So I don't, and my kids are here. Sure. So I have no complaints. I'm just glad I want the people we serve and our team safe, and I want this to be over.
That was great. I appreciate that. And we had several folks who identified the quote.
Oh, good.
We're going to have to give it to the quick draw here. Mary Arconti Gregory came through and said,
thank you, Mary.
Peter Drucker is.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you, Mary.
And then, like I said, many other folks. So thank you. Anything else you wanted to sort of contribute to our chat today, or as we wind it down here?
For me?
Yeah.
You know what? I think this is a great idea. I have to tell you, I'll say it again. I'll name drop the chamber, because getting through this for us, a critical part of it was having the community, the business community support us. People have been amazing and wonderful, and the chamber helps bring people together to get that done. So we were really thankful to be part of your community, part of this community. Really thankful.
Excellent. Thank you, Jane. Really appreciate that. And thanks again for taking the time, not just today, but for all the time and energy that you and your entire team put into Ability Beyond. We greatly appreciate all your hard work.
Thanks so much for having us.
Of course, absolutely. Tomorrow we are hosting George Sarathegas. He's the owner of the Holiday Diner right there in downtown Danbury on White Street. So be sure to join us at 1 p.m. To check in how things are going with him. He just opened up just this Monday, actually. He's doing now curbside and takeout. So look forward to catching up with George. Jane, thanks again. I appreciate it. I hope all is well still with you and your family and the entire team. And give us a call if you need anything, okay?
Thanks so much.
All right. Be well. Take care, everyone.